How's it going, everyone? Today we're going to be covering everything you need to know about team fighting. It's one of the most important skills in the entire game, regardless of your champion or roles, and I'm going to be breaking it down in such detail today that by the end of this video, I guarantee that your understanding of how to perform well in these team fights is going to be significantly higher. So if that sounds good to you, then let's get started. Hey everyone, if you're passionate about improving and leveling up your gameplay, I've been offering coaching classes for 5 days a week for quite some time, and just seen firsthand how much my students have been improving across all different elo brackets. How it works is you'll come to a class with a VOD you like reviewed, and I'm going to help you with your early game, your mid game, or anything you feel like needs improving. And if you're unsure, then I'm going to steer you in the right direction by setting clear learning objectives. Link's going to be in the description, I hope to see you there, but if not, then enjoy the video. The first topic we're going to be covering is your champion's teamfight identity. Now, even though teamfighting does have a large amount of variables, how strong everyone is, what champions are on each team, how they're performing, things like that, the champion's identity, the champion you're playing, should be your baseline. Your base understanding of how to play a team fight, regardless of those variables, should default back to their champion's identity. So if you're playing a champion that's extremely good at front to back, and I'm going to be breaking it down to 3 categories. So a front to back champion, champs like Cassante, champs like Darius, champs like Gwen, your default understanding of how to play a team fight is having champions run in towards you, hitting whoever's in the front, and moving your way to the back. Where if you're playing a diver champ, a champ like Olaf, champ like Malphite, you probably want to be diving onto their backline and putting as much pressure as you can on their backline. And if you're playing a flanker, champs like Aatrox, champs like Kennen, champs like Riven, you want to be attacking from a different angle, from a flank position, of course, from behind or from the side. And just because one champion's in this category doesn't mean you can't do another. If a Darius gets a great flank and gets a flash 4-man E, it's probably going to work pretty well. But this is the default understanding and how you should be teamfighting on your champ most of the time. And I do see this mistake quite often. People front to back as a default on Aatrox, or they just fly in every time on a champ like Cassante when they feel fed. It's really important that you understand your champion's default identity before you start to consider the variables and adjust your play around them. Now, on the screen, I'll put up a few more examples of champions fitting in these categories that we touched on, and it's really important for you to figure out where your champion lies. So to give some examples of more complex ones, let's say a champ like Jace, where you're quite good at zone control, you're a range and a melee champ, he's going to be mainly front to back. If you engage from a flank position or dive in, you're probably going to get one shot. That doesn't mean you can never hammer form Q in, but most of the time you're defaulting from sitting behind your front line, poking them down, hitting the front, and going in later. So it's really important that you figure out where your champion lies as a default for your team fight understanding and try to perform that as your base level of team fighting. So I'll show an example of each category, and we'll start with the flankers. So starting with Zeus playing Aatrox in this game, and of course he's playing Aatrox, one of our flanking champions, so we can see already he's going to be hex gating right behind the enemy team, and looking to attack from a flank position. So jumps over the dragon wall, doesn't want to go all the way around the back, you don't have to flank literally from behind, but you do need to attack from a creative angle. So hex gates over, manages to get onto the Ashe, insta-kill onto the Jhin as well, and take him out as well. So great flank positioning from him. And if we skip forward a little bit in this exact same game, you'll see it's very consistent. He's looking for a flank at every single stage that he can on his champion in these team fights. So we'll skip ahead a little bit. Here we go. We can see on the minimap down here, getting a really creative angle again. Going around the background red buff, you'll see him on your screen right now, and jumps over the red wall. Pretty good use of E by him. And then again, poor Ashe player takes him out, and they all have to turn. The Sejuani's queuing in while T1's doing Dragon Soul. Jax feels pressure. Look at him, he's actually can't decide what to do. Do I mark the Aatrox drug on the enemy team? So a lot of pressure created from him attacking from this flank position. So him killing the support Ashe, not really the biggest deal, but the pressure he puts as a flanker is extremely hard for the enemy team to play against. Where if he played in the Dragon, maybe they go for a steal, maybe they play front to back, but because he understands his champion's role, he was able to get a lot of value in this game. Now, that example was in a pro match with a lot of good players on his team, so I'm going to be showing one from an Emerald solo queue game. So this is a student of mine. Back when this video was made, he was Emerald, now he's Diamond, and he's playing Aatrox. So we had a big issue with him when he was playing Aatrox, defaulting to front to backing, just grouping up with his team and fighting. So we worked really hard on him being very creative and attacking from a flank position. So you can see he's got a sweeper, he's got a pink, he's trying to get into a creative flank position unseen before this dragon fight. So sneaks into the bush here. I'm pretty sure Seraphine didn't see him on fog. Maybe she did, and she's just a little bit blind. Maybe her camera was panned to the left, but gets into a nice creative position off to the side here and starts off this fight already blowing up their Seraphine, their Enchanter, burn the Shen ulti, burn the Nocturne ulti, so already off to a really good start to the fight. So similar to before, killing the Seraphine, killing the Ashe, it does matter, it's not the biggest deal, but the amount of pressure he put from attacking from that angle made it really hard for the enemy team to play. They reacted. In the Zeus example, it was just a Sedge queue, but in this Emerald 2, Emerald 1 solo queue game, they literally threw every single spell to try save their Seraphine, so you can see how impactful it can be just understanding how your champion should play. For our next example, I'll show another category. This game I'm playing Darius, a champion that loves playing front-to-back team fights. Darius as a champion, if you can get 5 stacks on the front line or reset with ulti, you're probably one of the most useful champs in the entire game, but if you can't get that passive proc, you're not going to do very well, and I see a lot of players on Darius pop Ghost, run down the backline, go for flash hooks, and it's going to be very difficult for you to get 5 stacks on the AD carry or the mid, especially if you're tanking, support CC, Hui spell, stuff like that. You're not going to get very fast. It's better to play more of a front-to-back style as a default on this champion, and we can see in this game, Silas got a really good flank. He understands his role in this fight, and instead of me trying to zone off the AD carry or run towards these two players down here trying to get a hook or something, I'm just clicking backwards and waiting for him to use his spells, because he's wasting my teammates' time here as well. They can't really follow me up if I go in. He's got Zhonya's, he's got Lisalt, he's got all that. So I'm just chilling here. I'm waiting patiently. All I want is to get a reset off of the Silas. I don't want to flash hook these two. I don't want to hit Nasus. You get the drill by now. So I'm waiting for Silas. Bad timing there on my Q. Pull in the front line, and he flashes away. And now I can walk forward with my team, reset off one guy, whoever's at the front. It doesn't actually matter if you ulti a Nautilus or if you ulti the AD carry. If you get a reset, you become very useful. Flash in and just one-shot everyone, because Darius with passive proc, very, very powerful. So we can see, even though it might have been tempting, with the Silas sitting here just wasting my time for me to go on the backline, it's better for me to default to my champion's identity, especially in chaotic times, a chaotic team fight. Just stack off whoever I can on the front, and then just, once you've got that passive proc, then you can move on and just chew away at them one by one. Now, as for our champions that love just diving onto the backline and blowing up their carries, your job is a little more straightforward, but it is important to pick your moments. So I'll show an example here, a couple examples actually. I'm playing Olaf, and it's going to be hard for me to pick my moment. I have no divers on my team. And if you've played any champ that loves to go in, if you've got Alistair, Rakan, champs that dive in Vi jungle on your team, your job is very, very easy. They go in, they get blown up and tank all the damage for you, and you come and run them down. But when you're the solo diver, you have to be very cautious with your timing, especially in this example here. My ulti is down, I'm just putting pressure onto them here, just poking down Leona, and now I'm going to kite back onto their TP, and I'm playing it very slow. I could dive onto the backline, but I'm fine with my Braum just getting shit on a little bit here and waiting for my moment to strike. So good Q onto all of them. Could be tempting again to go in. I might even go in for an E, click backwards, waiting patiently for my moment. And keep in mind, even if I had ulti here, I wouldn't have gone on that timer. I would wait for the right time to strike. See it's coming up very shortly, where once my ulti's up, now they're split. Two people were here, they split up here, so I know it's my time to go. So I missed my Q, unlucky, it happens, but pop ulti, go in, bash down this Anivia. I know I'm versus MF and Anivia, very low threat backline, and two of the other teammates split off from them, so I was able to easily kill them. Now, it would have been a bit easier if I was able to hit my X, but we can see here, I'm waiting very patiently. They're grouped up in a nice formation as 5 with Shaco Box in the way, but now Shaco Box gone, 2 people split, and Nivea wasted ult, boom, I'm in. So I waited patiently for a lot of major spells to be used, and also I waited for the team to split up. And if we skip to the very last fight here, it's off to a bad start. My Nidalee was playing well all game. She gave a 1k shutdown. A little bit unlucky here. She got blown up. I wouldn't say unlucky as a bit troll, but here we can see. Tempting to go on and try save my teammate, but I have no interest in that, as we saw before. I'm just chilling here, waiting for my moment to strike, and they're feeling good. They just got a 1k, they killed 2 of my teammates, they're chasing me down. They've come in away from that base gate, which is blocking me from doing my job, and now pop Q, run through, one-shot that guy, bash her down. And now, because I baited them out from their safe position, I waited for them to actually be out of position to make a mistake. Now I was able to go in. If I ran in straight away when my Nidalee got engaged and I'm getting shit on from over the wall, that would not have happened. I probably would have died. But you can see, playing a diving champion, a big part of it is waiting for your time to strike, mainly around people mispositioning or wasting major cooldowns. Now, our next topic is going to be a little bit less clear cut. I'd say the majority of my viewers, you probably have a decent understanding of how to use your champion in a team fight as a default. Either you've watched the guide that I've made for your champ, or you just like to watch educational content in general, you probably have a decent understanding. If you play a champ like Garen, you're probably flanking, or a champ like Olaf, you're probably diving onto the backline. But one of the harder to learn skills for team fighting is what is my role in this upcoming fight? Because it's really going to depend on so many variables, and I'm going to do my best to simplify it. But you can't just play Aatrox and flank every game. What if your backline is way stronger than theirs, and you flank and kill the 0-6 Jhin, but your 7-1 Aphelios just gets completely run down? But you probably wanted to adapt and play front to back in that game. So I'm going to be breaking it down how to know when to do each style and when to deviate from your general game plan. Now, one of the most important things to think about is what are the key champions in this game? So the reason I say key and not just who are the most fed members is because they might have a 1 in 5 Amumu, but he's still going to be a key champ in their game. So instead of flanking, maybe you want to stop him from doing his job, because if you flank and you have no other CC or frontline on your team, maybe he just gets a 4-man ulti. So try to mark the key champions in your mind, not just on the enemy team, but on your team as well. So if you're 3 and 2, you had a pretty good game, got ganked a couple times, but you have a very fed Hui, then you probably want to be keeping him alive instead of focusing on killing the backline. Or let's say in a different one, maybe you have a fed jungler who's playing quite well. Your bot lane sucks, surprise, surprise. But you have a fed Jarvan or a fed Vi. You want to be marking them in your mind and watching exactly what they're doing and trying to go in at the same time as them, follow them up, make plays with them, and really trying to play around the key champs in the game. So on your team, it's a little bit more straightforward. If you have a fed AD carry or a fed mid, just keep them alive. They're probably going to dump more damage than the opponent's backline. And if you have a fed champion or a very useful champion that can engage, playing around them as well. So trying to mark the key champs in the game and play around them. But the enemy team, that can be a little bit more complicated, because what if the AD carry is fed because your bot lane went 0-12 for the first time ever, and you're not strong enough to solo kill the ADC? You still want to be marking him in your mind as a key champion. Even if you're playing, let's say, a front to back champion, like a Cassante, do you want to keep your 0-7 Poke Varus alive who's just trying it on the new patch? Or do you want to be trying to put pressure on the enemy AD carry so that he feels scared to walk up without you flash, Q3ing him or looking to W him, something like that? Probably the latter. You want to be playing around the key champions in the game and making it easy for the ones on your team to get their value, or making it hard for the enemy champions to get their value. Another element you can be considering is, what does my team comp want to do as a whole? Now, this is something you can think about in Champ Select, but if you have a team comp, let's say you have Hui, Jinx, Braum, and you're playing Riven, you probably want to play more of a front to back in that game in general, because they're going to be doing a lot of damage, probably more than the opponent backline if they're playing champs like Samira Pike or something like that. Maybe you can just play to peel off the Camille or peel off the Samira and allow your backline to do damage. But this should come in second to playing around the key champs in the game, because even if you have that exact same comp, but your Hui just got completely shit on, and so did your bot lane, probably you want to be playing more so with your jungle. Let's say he's playing like a Vi or a Jarvan wants to go in, you can play more so with him. So default to playing around the key champs in the game, the strongest members, the most useful players, instead of the team comp. But if everyone is relatively strong and your team comp, you can make them function, you can dive in with them even if you're playing a champ like Jace, or you can play front to back with them even if you're playing a champ like Riven. That can increase your success overall as well. And a general guideline you can follow to help you see this in the game is, if your backline is significantly stronger than the opponent backline, it could be better just to keep them alive instead of trying to kill the opponent. But if your backline is significantly weaker than the opponent, so they're the one with the strong mid and AD carry player, it could be better for you to put pressure on them and make it hard for them to do their job. Now, if I were to give you a basic checklist that you can follow before an upcoming team fight, step 1 would be know your champion's role. So if you're playing a champ like Vlad, probably looking for a flank. Champ like Sante, probably looking for a front to back. Step 2 would be, who are the key champions in this game? So the most fed members, the strongest champions, and also the ones with very impactful abilities. So even if Malphite or Amumu are not having a great game, they are still key champions in that game that you need to be thinking about. And then step 3, how can I play around these key champions? So to give an example, let's say they have a fed Jinx. How can you play around it? Especially if you're not strong enough to just dive on and kill her by yourself. How can you play around that? Maybe you flank her from a position, but you don't fully engage. You're posturing, you're looking at her, and making it really hard for her to do damage onto your team. Or if they have a stronger Mumu who's getting great engages, maybe try find him, or a Fiddlesticks, you swapped a blue trinket, try to spot him out so he can't get that unseen ulti. Really think about the key, the most impactful champs in the game, and how you can play around them on the enemy team and your team as well. Now, to showcase an example of this, I have an example here from an Emerald 1 student of mine, and this is from a live coaching session. So I was coaching him through the game as he was playing it, and I was constantly reminding him of the key champions in this game before this fight. So the key champions on his team, Jin and Fiddle, his bot lane did well, his jungle mid picked terrible champions, Musty smoldered together, and they ran it down. So completely erase them from your mind, don't even look at them, play around your bot lane, and the enemy team impactful champion is going to be a Mumu and Zed. So Zed was very fed, and Amumu has a very impactful spell. So I was reminding him, how can we play around these in this fight? And he did so extremely well in this game. So I'm going to be breaking down what he did well, some things he could do a little bit better. But we can see he's found Zed off to the side here, and he's marking him. He's making it really hard for Zed to just reach the backline. Even if he W's here, he can't reach them with ulti. So he's putting pressure on Zed, making it hard for him, and he saw a Mumu as well here. So now he's got a Mumu, Zed, and even Rumble a little bit extra. And because he's posturing here and making space for his Jhin, it's really hard for the opponent to do anything to this Jhin. Even if Nord had a hook right now, they would be fine, because no one else can really follow that, because he's making a lot of space for him. So we can see here, because he's making space, and Mumu felt pressured to go in, Q's onto him, and then the Fiddle, another key member in this game, is able to get a great ulti. So this is where I would say he made a mistake. He's stuck on this Amumu too long. He should have pulled off here, tried to play with his Fiddle and with his Jhin as they go in, but it's fine, right? It didn't matter. The Fiddle did great, wiped them here, and he was just bashing down, making it really hard. You can see Zed got almost no value in this game, even though I think he was like 6-1 or something at this point, and it was very, very difficult for Amumu to get any value with his ulti as well. Our next topic is holding spells, one of the most important points for team fighting well by far. It doesn't matter how well your positioning is, how well you understand your champion, if you're using your spells at a bad time. And I see it way too often where people see a fight begin and blow their spells instantly. So I'm going to be showing some examples from myself and from my students. I was very tempted to go through the Bin example for 100 times, but I settled on using it for B-roll. Bin is the king of this, holding onto your spells for the right time. So holding onto your spells, to summarize, is observing the fight as it begins, holding your spells, just putting pressure on them with your body language, and waiting for the right time to use your spells, based on if they make a positioning mistake, if they split up, if they waste major cooldowns that you're waiting for. You want to be holding your spells for the right time to go in. If you fly in as Jax and get CC'd to death, probably not going to be the best outcome for you, but if you wait and you chill and you wait for the CC to be used, or for the enemy front line to dive onto your backline so they're split up, you're probably going to have a lot more success. And even if you don't find an angle to go in, the threat of you standing there, staunching the backline, can even outweigh going in at times. So it's really important that you develop the skill. So I'm going to be going through some examples. For our first example, I wanted to showcase a student of mine. Now, recently, these past couple months, he's been learning Camille, and one of the biggest things he struggled with was holding spells. When he saw any type of fight happening, he would use his E, his ulti, and try to get amongst it, follow up, engage straight away, or try to peel his team or something like that. But the bottom line is he was wasting his spell. It's really important for you to hold on to, especially your major abilities, so Camille E, Jax QE, whatever major spell you have, holding on to it. And as I say that he just wasted his E, make sure you don't make that mistake. Don't use your Camille E on the way to a fight like this, but it didn't end up mattering in this example. So in the past, he would E in right now. Well, I won't give him credit yet. I'll wait for his E. So right now, in the past, he would have eaten right now, follow up the Vladimir, big E, big Q, whatever Vlad's doing, follow him up and try to kill the Shyvana. But he knows, from experience, holding on to spells, observing that fight briefly, waiting for major things to be used, or for teammates to get in position, as we can see Vi is on the way to this Herald fight, so it's better for him to hold his spell. If he eaten right now, I guarantee they would have lost this fight, but he's holding on to it. He has no interest in eating the Shyvana, even though Shyvana's input out of position. She's a Shyvana with no ulti. She's pretty much a shit stain. It's better for him to hold on to his E for a prior target. So the Zeri is very important, but if he E's onto the Zeri now, Zeri has a high chance of dodging it. So he waits, Vi gets into a good position, pops Q onto Zeri, and then he follows up with his E, and he's able to take her down. So they kill the pro target instantly before she could get any damage done, and then they killed the useless target after. So really good use of holding E here, and it's definitely something that you can look to work on, as you came a long way from day one, eating into that Shyvana straight away, maybe killing Shiv, and then Zeri getting a triple kill or double kill, and game being very tricky. So definitely a crucial skill and great example from him. Next, I'll show a couple examples of myself doing this, and in this game I'm playing Malphite. So this is a very clear champion to witness this concept on, because I have one spell. My ulti is the only spell I need to hold. So keep in mind, holding spells is not holding literally everything. You can whack people with Jax W or Malphite Q or Camille W or Camille Q. It's about holding your major spells, your long cooldown, high impact spells, especially gap closes. Those are the ones that you want to be holding. So here, I'm holding onto my ulti. My ASL kind of got engaged on. Pop Q, bash this guy down a little bit. I do not want to ulti in now onto Heimerdinger. It's not a high enough value target. It's hard for my ASL to follow me through that big Heimer tower. I'm waiting patiently also for my team to arrive, and we can see Nico rocks up. Now I pop my ulti. As soon as my team's in position and they clumped up, I managed to get a good 3-man ulti, followed by Nico. Beautiful engage there, and sadly we lost this game, actually remembering back, but we can see holding spells there really turned the fight around. If I drop my ulti straight away, trying to peel this guy, like, oh, I gotta save my teammate, or nice, ASOL's hitting him, maybe I can ulti the Rel or the Heimer or something like that, we would lose this fight. But because I held on to it, I still used my QWE, useless abilities, I held on to my ulti until now, and we were able to get a really good team fight. So I'll show one more example just for a bit of fun. This game I'm playing Garen, and I'm duo with my friend on the O server, I think in Master or GM and we can see I have really high ping because of that, but the ping doesn't matter, the champ doesn't matter. Holding spells is a really crucial element to team fighting. So we can see the Vi goes into Raptor, so I just kill her. This doesn't matter, don't count this as a team fight. And she dies to Death Dance, I think. And now the team fight's coming up, and I need to be holding my spells. So on Garen, I'll say all your spells are pretty important. You don't want to be wasting Q or E or anything like that. It's not like a Camille E where there's one clear ability. I'd say Flash is probably the most clear one they want to be holding, but we can see Amumu goes in. I don't want a W1 bandage toss. Maybe I just can't on that ping, we'll never know, but we can see wait out the Veigar cage, kiting around, Kha'Zix goes in. I don't really want to go in on this timer. They have all their abilities. It doesn't look that good for me, so I click away, and Amumu gets a good flash ulti. You can see no W, let's blame the ping for that, and I'm clicking back. So Veigar's dropping spells, the Jax has E up, Amumu has one more stun. I'm clicking away and waiting for my time to strike. I'm holding my spells here. And now, boom, Jax uses Q, his E, Amumu's use everything, Veigar's use Cage, so now I flash in. So QE, just completely eat everyone alive, and I'll just play it on normal speed, because of the VLC bug, but we can see I'm waiting for Amumu, waiting for Jax, all their major CCN spells to be used, and then I go in and just get to play Garen, take them out. Veigar Cage just came up, but we can see I played around that cooldown as well, so I was able to get a great fight. For our next topic, we have baiting spells, and this topic may seem relatively straightforward to some, but it's something I very rarely see done with intention. And baiting spells is essentially posturing in a way where you're putting pressure on your opponent to use a major ability on you. So you're kind of egoing them with your body language, you're posturing, pretending like you're going to go on them, even though you don't really want to be hitting them or engaging. You want them to use a major ability on you, and then either you tank it, you flash away, Fiora parry, Gwen W, whatever tool you have, but you want them to use a major ability before the team fight begins, sometimes during the team fight, but making it hard for them to collapse on your team. So the major spells in this game, going back to our checklist, is Rel Engage. They have Rel and Yasuo to follow that up. So a lot of the way I played out these team fights in this game was based around making it hard for Rel or Yasuo to get a god engaged. So here, my team is in range to follow me up. And if I didn't have flash, I'd probably walk away here. Don't really want to get CC locked to death under tower. But I know I've got Styrax, I've got Randuin's, I've got flash. I want the Rel to use her engage on me. So I'm walking up, hitting this tower. I have no intention to kill this tower. I mean, I'll take some free damage, but I want the Rel to engage on me. So I'll click back here. I left for a little bit because my team was doing their own little side quest off to the side. But when they came back, now I walked up. So you can see my intent is very clear. I want to get engaged on by Rel. So my team, my Zeri was quite fed this game, can freely hit. So again, back to our checklist, the main champs on their team is Rel, Yasuo, Engage. The main champ on my team is Zeri with Enchanter. So I want to be playing around here. So I walk up at this tower. Come on, Rel, please engage on me. Boom, Rel, Yasuo, flash away. Get my hook in. You can see I was really mentally prepared for that to happen. Hook, Q, and then I can just sit back, put my feet up, and let Zeri do all the work. Because now they have literally zero threat onto her. So you can put in any bronze player onto Zeri, and she's probably going to pentakill them there. Because I baited their major spells out and made it very easy for her to succeed in this game. Our next topic is compensating for teammates' mistakes. I see this mistake so often, especially in ranks Emerald and below, where your teammate does something dumb, they get caught out, they do a bad engage, but you try to help them. You try to save them or follow up or just fight with them in general, and you end up getting killed or you get chunked and you have to run away, lose your flash maybe, and that makes your next play really bad as well, where if you just let them die straight away and instantly went back to side lane or based and went back to side, your tempo would be really good and you could carry the next play. So it's really important for you as a player to develop that switch in your mind where no, what my teammate's doing right now is not good. I'm not going to get involved here. And you can watch the fight and hold on to your spells and maybe go in if it looks good later on, but don't instantly follow up your team if the play doesn't look good to you initially. You always got to trust your gut in these moments. So here, you can see I'm hovering mid so we can use our Herald well. Break the tower, someone drops a back ping, so I'm out. But Alistair, he, surprise, surprise, he goes in and he does something dumb. So flies in with Herald, gets his 4-man engage, knocks somebody back. I have no interest in fighting this. This looks terrible to me. I'm not just going to queue away and let him die. I'm going to kind of help a little bit, walk up using my W, my E. You can see I'm holding onto my Q this entire time. So I stun this guy. I have no interest in trying to kill Rel and dying for it or saving him. Let my Draven die as well. This Draven made the mistake we just talked about. He compensated for his Alistair's mistake. If he saw Alistair do that and he instantly ran away and based or farmed camps or something, he'd be in a much better position than he is now. But me, even though I was hovering, I knew I had Jack's Q and I could survive a lot easier than Draven. And we can see the second that play is done, I'm running straight back to side. No time waste. Actually, I do waste time. The crab's too tempting. But you can see I had that switch in my mind where no, this play does not look good to me. I'm not even going to risk getting chunked at all. I didn't want to even take damage for that Alistair. I just want to let him die, go straight back to side, get that wave in, and then look to carry the next play. So I'll show another example, but this one is not so obvious, where that Alistair was clearly inting. This one, it's a little bit harder to see. So in this game, really close game, one mistake from me can cost us the game. But I know the major players in this game, the major champs, going through our checklist, Fiddlesticks on the enemy team. Really important champion that I need to play around. Aurora as well, 22 kill mid laner. So I need to be playing around them mainly. So, and I would say on my team, I'm the only major one. Lux is actually strong at this point, but she was having a terrible game, which is why even though she has good items, I wouldn't really mark her as a notable champ on my team that I want to play around. I'm mainly playing for what I want to do in the game and playing around the enemy main champions. So we can see here, I'm hovering to the side where I've got this ward down because I know I don't want to get wrecked by Fiddle. So I could have been a bit nicer in backping my team here, but they get engaged on, and we can see I am in no interest to compensate and try to save them. I don't want to tank this Fiddle ulti and the Smolder ulti that's coming and get half my HP bar chunked for no reason. I'm just watching. I let my teammates get instantly killed. I avoid the Fiddle ulti. I avoid the Smolder ulti. So now I'm full HP. And now I walk up. No threat on me. Kill this Fiddle very, very easily. Walk up and you'll see me not compensating there and not even taking 100 damage from Fiddle ulti was the difference maker in this fight. I was able to just kill Smolder before he executed onto me. Or if I tank that Smolder ulti or that Fiddle ulti trying to save my teammates who made a big mistake, if I tried to compensate for them, I definitely would have died here. We might have gotten aced and the game would not have been a win. Now, the final point I want to go over is something I like to call the golden rule of team fighting. And basically what the golden rule is try to be as useful as possible in the fight without dying. Now, it sounds pretty straightforward, but I would say every single league player out there, you start out your league journey doing what's fun, trying to get kills and trying to win the game. So a lot of people's default way to play team fights is how do I kill X champion? How do I kill the AD carry? How do I kill whoever's out of position? But that can lead to you getting killed or not being as impactful as possible. There's so much that goes into team fighting, more than just how much damage you do or how much damage you take. How much pressure you can create is a massive factor as well. So I'm going to be showcasing a very clear example of that and some examples of students making a mistake. So we can see here, I'm walking up, we're looking to end the game. I'm the most strong member on my team here. And their most strong member is Misfortune. She's very fed, so I want to be pressuring her in a way where she cannot use ulti and wipe my entire team. So could I just kill her to stop that? Yeah, I probably could, but she's got a really fed Hui on her team. She has a lot of items. She has an Ivern as well, a lot of Ivern shields. So I choose to play more so to pressure her as much as possible, so to be as useful as I can without dying myself. Because if I go in and kill her and die, then I just kind of have to sit back and hope my team wins the 4v4 when I'm the most useful member. So I don't want to be doing that. So we can see I'm posturing in a way where it's hard for MF to walk up and get auto attacks or get a good ulti. Hit this guy, he's right in front of me, but as soon as I see MF do that, I pop my ghost, I run her down. Keeping in mind right now, I'm not trying to kill her. I know she has flash, she has Ivan, this way is really fed. You can see he's level 15. He has a bunch of items as well. I do not want to kill her. If she walked towards me or did something ridiculous, I would. But my intention here is to put as much pressure on her as I can so she can't be useful and the Hui as well. So I pop ulti, I run her down, Q, stride break, hit her. And we can see right now, if I was not playing her left, I would turn around right now. But I pick up my X, don't want to be leaving it behind. Look, I've got flash, I've got stride breaker. I could flash onto her right now. And I would kill her almost guaranteed, but I would die myself. The Hui is really fed. The Ivan might walk up and shield her. It might take me a bit of time. Nara's TPing in as well to that tower we see. So it's better for me to take the flash and pull off and hit the same target as my team here. And you'll see very shortly after this, I try to be even more useful as well. I hit a Q onto Ivan. Am I going to try kill him off this Q? No, I'm not. Walk up, prop stride breaker onto his team, pick up my axe, chuck it through their team as well, and then walk back. So it was a little bit buggy there. I'll go back and watch it from the start. So I run down this MF, hit Q, turn away instantly, whack this guy, Q onto Ivern, stride break all of them, click back straight away, fade away Q, and now MF got a very suboptimal ulti, and she has no flash at this point. I still have my major spells. That's another point of trying to be useful. You don't have to use your major abilities, where if I tried to kill MF, even if somehow I killed her and lived, I would have lost my flash and I would have been like 1 HP, but I would have died in this scenario, take my word for it. But here we can see it. Now I'm able to walk up. MF has no flash, her teammates aren't alive to keep her alive anymore, and it's a lot easier to kill her now because she had no flash, no teammates. So we can see, even though back from the very start, this MF was really fed, Hui was really strong. I didn't try to kill them. I tried to make it really hard for them to have value in this fight and burning their major abilities, chunking them as well if I can, and I was able to be very impactful without actually killing anyone in this team fight. So now for our next example, I want to compare the clip we just watched to a student of mine making the mistake. In this game, he wasn't trying to be as useful as possible in the fight, make space, put pressure, he was trying to get a kill on a specific target. And don't worry, he gave me permission to show this clip, he doesn't mind whatsoever, and we can see he's really fit in this game, 7-1 on Udyr, having a great game. The enemy Kai'Sa was quite strong at this point, I think she was 3 items, so she definitely does a lot of damage. So I'll skip ahead a little bit. We can see the fight's about to begin, his ADC gets one shot. So the issue he ran into in this fight is instead of trying to create as much space as possible and make it easy for his Jhin or his Fiddlesticks to do their job, who they were also fed in this game, he tried to just kill this Kai'Sa. He had the classic top lane mentality that we all learned the game with, dive backline, kill the squishy targets, but that's not going to work in this game, especially he doesn't even have the damage to kill her on the pseudo tank champion, and he could have backed off a little bit more and helped out his Jhin more, blocked that Mimikyu, stuff like that. The Nautilus flanked on him. You could see he wasn't really that interested in allowing his Jhin to do his job. Now, of course, Jhin played terribly. He got flanked by Naut and he got hooked by a Mumu, but the Udyr, my student here, could have made more space for him. He could have helped out when he saw a Mumu, but he's trying to beat down this Rumble and try to kill people like this, walk up, bash Rumble, trying to bash Kai'Sa as well, instead of making space and allowing his team to do their job. So we'll see the major mistake coming up. The Jhin gets one shot, and here, even though Jhin gets one shot, Fiddle is also good in this game, but now, he should just fight with his team. Now, he does need to put pressure on Kai'Sa and make it so she can't kill his team. So that's creating space. So we can see here, initially after the knockup, he clicks towards her. So far, so good on this part of the fight. Boom, she's Kai'Sa, she uses her E, she runs all the way out the fight. What he should do right now is click back. If anyone here has experience playing AD carry, and someone clicks towards you and you use your Zyra ulti, Kai'Sa E, flash, whatever, and then they stop chasing you, they just run back here, it feels pretty bad. Because now she doesn't have her E, she feels like if she walks up here, then the Udyr can pop Ghost and his next Awaken will be up soon. If he bashes the Mumu a couple times, it's going to be very hard for Kai'Sa to get value in this fight, even though he's not going to do damage or kill her. So we can see, though, he tries to do just that. His goal in this fight was do damage and get kills. So he's bashing this Kai'Sa down, pops his Q, Tiger tries to get a kill, and he ends up dying for it. So his Fiddle got killed as well, he got killed, and yep, luckily my C comes in and cleans up, but a way too close of a fight for a 7-1 fed out of his mind Udyr when he could have created space for Jhin at the start, he could have helped out his Fiddle, and he could have just put pressure on Kai'Sa, made it hard for her to do their job, just like I did to the MF, without literally trying to kill her. So you can see the difference in how the fights look when, even though Olaf and Udyr, kind of similar champs, meatballs that run people down, even though, Udyr's a lot tankier, Olaf does more damage, it's a very similar concept where he's trying to get a kill on this champion here, instead of trying to bait her out. If he just clicked her, made her E click back here, now she is in a really tough spot. If I walk up and get any auto attacks down, he's going to ghost and kill me. If I sit back here and do nothing, my team's going to die. And more often than not, she'll walk up, try to get the auto, and then he can run her down with his next awaken with his ghost and also with his teammates helping him because he's helped him out first. Time for our final example, and this one's one of my favorites, you'll see why very shortly. In this game I'm playing Camille, and I'm extremely fed. I'm 2 items at 14 minutes, level 11, everyone else is level 9 or 10 or 7. You can see I'm really strong, but I have to play this team fight very well. This kill score is completely even, so if we lose this fight, there's a good chance we lose the game. So heading into it, the golden rule, I want to be as useful as possible. I'm not playing for a specific kill, so I E in at the start, relatively safe here, I've got my Taric over the wall, burn her flash. So far so good. Started this fight, kick this guy down. I see the TP, I click away instantly. I'm just kiting out this Nautilus ulti, waiting out the Taric ulti, trying to dodge Nidalee Spear as well. And now I've got the Taric ulti, so I do fly in Q, but I click back straight away. I'm not trying to stick onto him, do a lot of damage with my auto attacks, Q2. Just click back here with my W, and then I will re-engage when my next spouse is up, right? So kind of like the Camille guide, weaving in and out of the fight, but also following that golden rule where I want to be as useful as I can in this fight. But in a game like this, where you're extremely fed and have major abilities, the pressure of you having those spells and holding them is going to be very impactful as well. Where if I go in straight away and try to kill someone, now I'm a sitting duck, they've seen what I can do. But if I'm just standing here holding my spells, it's really hard for them to walk up and do what they want to do. So we can see a lot's getting blown. Gallo ulti, Nidalee Spears, Jax is jumping in, and I'm just sort of chilling. Zoe's going in, I'm just chilling as well, and then boom, my Gallo gets a taunt. So I can see, I can fly in here, kick her head off, and click away. So 1 kill there, and just floating around the fight. It's almost like I'm observing the fight in a way, and picking and choosing my time to go in, wait patiently for the Jax E to finish, and he flashed my W here, unlucky, and then here, go up and get the kill on him, stack my Q, and then onto Kai'Sa as well. She was really strong. Take her out as well. And now it's very easy, right? Pop ulti onto the Zoe. And then run down this Nautilus as well. Nice little pentakill. Half the reason why I wanted to show this example. But you can see, if you check my stats for that team fight, the damage I dealt and the damage I took was probably pretty low. But the pressure I created by just being in the fight and not just ulting into the back line or anything like that and trying to blow up one person made it really hard for them to do. And this is a hard skill to learn because it's not really measurable how much pressure you're creating, how that's affecting the enemy team's play. It's not like a number you can check in the stats after the game, but it definitely exists. We can see here, the fact I'm standing here makes it hard for them to walk up. And when they did eventually try to walk up and get a kill, they got taunted, instantly killed. Every time I'm going in, there is no threat of me dying. I'm trying to do as much as I can without dying or getting chunked to 1 HP. And even here, I'm playing very slowly. I don't ulti onto Zoe right now or anything like that. Fight them 1v2 by here, get Nautilus hooked. I probably would win that 1v2, but my team would die back here. So it's more useful for me to take them out first. Go on the Kai'Sa as well. She was the only one that could have popped off in this fight. And now I can go in and just kill them. And this part of the team fight is very easy. So that's the golden rule. I hope it does help you out. And one thing I will note on it, you might be wondering, it's like, oh, what if I'm 0-5 and I play purely to kill someone and kill their 7 or 80 carry? Of course, I'm not going to complain. That's going to be great. If you're not that useful in the game, if you lost lane or something like that, and you trade your life to kill an extremely useful member, that's of course fine. The golden rule is more of a general guideline that you can follow for if you're doing well in the game, or if you feel like you're quite useful, then you want to be trying to do as much as you can without dying. But again, if you kill the most useful 1k shutdown, kill in the game, no issue there. But most of the time, that's not what I see. I see people committing flash, ulti, everything to get a kill. and then dying and getting chunked to 1 HP when they could be holding spells, watching the fight, creating pressure, and trying to provide as much value as they can without just tunnel visioning on a single kill. Alright everyone, that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed the video, maybe learned a thing or two as well. And if you have any other questions regarding team fighting or you have a topic you want me to cover in an upcoming video, feel free to let me know in the comments below. I'll see what I can do, and I'll see you guys next time.